Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, law enforcement agencies in Dickinson County are being sued as the disappearance of Nancy Rehnquist continues. Plus, a Michigan Senate candidate hosts a roundtable with Bernie Sanders to detail their goals for free health care. And we have more details on Michigan leaders looking to add more support for young men in the state. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
And good evening to you, UP. Let's check things out for tonight. It's a cold one. Temperatures eventually getting into the single digits for most of you, if they aren't already, across the region. Some lake effect from east of Marquette, Munising into Sault Ste. Marie, and to some extent along some of the western shores. Some of you may get below zero. And we're knocking out the teens for tomorrow. More lake effect again, mainly east of Marquette for the day. More details coming up later in the show.
Tom, thank you very much. After nearly a decade of questions and no criminal charges, a Dickinson County couple is taking 3 law enforcement agencies to court, accusing them of withholding key records tied to the disappearance of Nancy Rehnquist. Our own John Truitt has the details.
Louise Wender, the sister-in-law of Rehnquist, has filed a lawsuit against the Dickinson County Sheriff's Department, the county prosecutor, and the Iron Mountain Police Department, accusing all 3 of slander, libel, and withholding key investigative records. Rehnquist, a Florence County, Wisconsin woman, disappeared in 2016. 4 years later, in 2020, the Dickinson County Sheriff's Office identified Louise Wender as the only suspect, upgrading the case to a homicide without a body. But despite the designation, no one has ever been charged. The complaint says police claimed Louise was the last person to see Rehnquist alive, but that 3 witnesses later claimed seeing Rehnquist after that interaction. It also says a high-profile property search last year turned up no evidence of criminal activity.
Looking for biological evidence of a criminal activity. Here we are 13 months later, 14 months later, nothing.
The Wenders' second claimed that the agencies destroyed their reputation by publicly labeling Louise a suspect for years.
Who wants to live in a small town where every time you turn around, you're wondering what somebody thinks of you?
And third, that investigators refuse to release public records through the Freedom of Information Act. The Wenders say those documents could help clear their names.
The Wenders have a right to show that whoever swore the affidavits weren't telling the truth to the judge who signed the search warrant. They have a right to look at that. They've never been given that.
Court records show the couple submitted FOIA requests in September. All 3 agencies denied them, citing law enforcement and privacy exemptions.
When you have somebody missing and the police and the sheriff's department and the prosecutor say there's some sort of crime, but there's been no charges, well then let's see what's there.
The Wenders are seeking damages for alleged slander. They've also filed a separate motion asking a judge to unseal the search warrant affidavits used to raid their home. A hearing on that request is set for mid-January. In Iron Mountain, John Truitt, WZMQ 19 News.
A candidate for Michigan's Senate is highlighting some concerns they have with health care in the U.S. Abdul El-Sayed and Senator Bernie Sanders hosted a roundtable on what they called a broken health care system. As a public health official, El-Sayed is running on the platform of Medicare for All, hosting the roundtable to argue that it would cut billing waste, lower drug costs, and give everyone access to care.
Almost unanimously, people understand that the health care system is broken. It's dysfunctional, it is cruel, it is wildly expensive.
If we want Medicare for all, we have to first believe that it is possible. The question is, are we willing to get behind a politics where we fight together for what we need and deserve?
There's more from that roundtable on our website, WZMQ19.com. Michigan leaders say the state is losing too many young men to gaps in education, training, and employment. Today, they laid out new ideas to help men get back on track, from apprenticeships to broadband access. Our Michigan Capitol correspondent Sophia Murphy has the story.
State officials say Michigan is at a critical moment, with young men falling behind in school, the workforce, and even basic access to opportunity.
We wanted to really convene a group to have a conversation around looking at what we can do collectively across the state to impact some of the real challenges that we have known that men are facing.
Wilson says the state is already seeing warning signs. Fewer men are enrolling in college and participating in training programs. He says that's not just a personal loss, it's a threat to the state's future talent pipeline.
We're losing a generation of talent. And so there are massive consequences for us as a state.
Leaders talked about expanding apprenticeships, boosting community college access, and opening doors to emerging fields like drone technology and entrepreneurship. They also pointed to rural areas where broadband gaps still limit opportunity.
Creating more connectivity is definitely something that we know is prevalent.
But Wilson says policy changes and programs are only part of the solution. He says real progress starts by simply paying attention to the young men in our lives.
This doesn't have to be complex conversations. It's talking to a brother, a father, a son, checking in. How are you doing? What's going on with you?
State leaders are planning more meetings, listening sessions, and focus groups through 2026, all aimed at closing gaps and creating new pathways for Michigan men. From Michigan's capital, Sophia Murphy, WZMQ 19 News.
The push by Democrats to flip a Republican seat in Congress fell short in Tennessee. Republican Matt Van Epps beat out a stronger than expected challenge from Democrat Afton Bain in Tuesday's special election. The Army combat veteran won by 9 points in the state's deep red 7th congressional district, adding one more vote to the GOP's razor-thin majority in the House. President Trump carried the district by 22 points in the 2024 presidential election.
Politicians who run from the president or abandon the common sense policies that the American people gave us a resounding mandate on do so at their own peril. No matter what the DC insiders or liberal media say, this is President Trump's party. I'm proud to be a part of it and can't wait to get to work.
In a post on Truth Social, the president congratulated the congressman-elect, calling his win, quote, another great night for the Republican Party. Democrats say a closer race serves as a warning for Republicans with the 2026 midterms less than a year away. The Secretary of Defense continues to come under scrutiny this week. In addition to facing questions about his role in a September boat strike in the Caribbean, Secretary Hegseth is additionally facing renewed questions about his use of a personal cell phone to relay military information in March. Erica Brown has the latest tonight.
Sources tell CBS News the Pentagon's Inspector General found Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth put U.S. service members at risk by sharing sensitive details about an active bombing mission in Yemen using Signal, a messaging app, earlier this year. At the time, Hegseth denied sharing any classified information.
Nobody's texting war plans.
On social media Wednesday evening, Hegseth called the review a total exoneration. The messages were initially published by The Atlantic after journalist Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief, was inadvertently included in the group chat. According to sources, the Inspector General found Hegseth violated official Department of Defense policy when he used his personal device to send information labeled secret. Top Democratic lawmakers are calling for Hegseth to step down.
It all started with Signalgate, and again, I don't think the secretary should stay in his position.
So like I said when the Signalgate thing started, they fired the wrong guy.
I guess
Mike Waltz was not the guy that should have been fired. Pete Hegseth should have been fired.
The Inspector General's report comes as Secretary Hegseth continues to face scrutiny for his role in the U.S. strikes on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean in September. The Washington Post reported Hegseth instructed commanders to kill everyone, which Hegseth denies. This week, President Trump reaffirmed his support for Hegseth.
Pete said he did not order the death of those two men.
While lawmakers from both sides of the aisle probe the legality of the strikes, which critics say could possibly constitute a war crime.
Tom DeVecchio has your first warning weather forecast when we come back, and we'll tell you more about lights in the park in Rapid River as it's set to make its return. We'll be right back after this.
Now, from the 19 News Forecast Center, this is WZMQ 19 First Warning Weather.
It's going to be a cold one tonight for the Upper Peninsula, with many of you dropping into the single digits, even below zero, with some lake effect kicking in. And plans for tomorrow, bundle up, hat, coat, and gloves, as these high temperatures not getting out of the teens. Now here in Marquette, the snow chance is pretty small, as you can see, as we head on through Thursday and into Thursday night. Not much expected. Most of the fun will be off toward the east. You see from Munising into Sault Ste. Marie, lake effect bands will continue. Some of them are pretty prominent. Munising, you may be in the bullseye of some heavier snow amounts here, but here in Marquette, probably not nearly as much snow expected. After a little break Thursday night, another front comes through, another somewhat Arctic front here. This one a little more disorganized, not seeing a lot of snow here. Some lake effect bands here along the western shores of Lake Superior here out toward Eagle Harbor into Ironwood, but the heavier bands will be Newberry to Sault Ste. Marie. And then for the rest of Friday, as the winds shift, we don't find a whole lot more snow. We'll keep a small chance, but overall, we don't expect much here during the day on Friday. Here's the snowfall amounts as we head on through the end of the day Friday. Again, Munising, you could get 6 or more. Newberry, Sault Ste. Marie, you're looking at some pretty good local snow amounts there. Clearly east of Marquette. Marquette, you're kind of in between the bullseyes here. Smaller chances, but still 6+ possible along the far western shores there, just inland from the lake. Lawns, yourself will get a couple of inches. Marquette, all said and done, maybe an inch or two, with the least amount along the Wisconsin border, east of Iron River and out toward Escalon. Escanaba. You'll get the smallest amount with this general northwest flow. And indeed, it will be a cold northwest flow with gusts over 30 miles an hour at times. But by Thursday afternoon, the winds start to shift. That should cut off the lake effect for the most part. Later on Friday, this little reinforcing trough will come through, keeping things cold. The trough itself may set off some shower activity. So as we head toward tomorrow, knocking out the teens here in Marquette, chance of some light snow and flurries, maybe a light accumulation, higher amounts, of course, in the eastern snow belts. Friday, a chance of some light snow as well for Marquette. Again, a little better chance to the east. And the weekend, typical cold. Small chances of some snow showers, and we'll keep cold temperatures and maybe a little more snow for the beginning of next week.
Tom, thank you again. A Delta County community is working together to spread some Christmas cheer this December. Our Escanaba Bureau reporter Lily Simmons has the story from Rapid River.
Here's what Masonville Township Park looks like right now, but come this weekend, it will be transformed for the annual Lights in the Park.
I love Christmas, and it actually started right after COVID, and we had a lot of people that were depressed and they were sick, and there was some suicides in the area.
The community needed some hope, and the owner of Jack's Restaurant decided to head up a new tradition. It's a drive-through winter wonderland, running from 6 to 8 p.m. December 6th, 13th, and 20th.
We have people come in and check out the lights and see Santa, and kids from the school will have a concession stand. It's just a huge community thing. It was supposed to be a one shot, but it keeps growing.
There's no admission fee, but guests are asked to bring non-perishable food donations to support local food banks.
I think food this year is important. And, monetary donations are great too. That's why we keep doing it.
Lights in the Park is a big undertaking, so volunteers start setting up in early November.
Miles and miles of cords. The last I heard on inflatables, it was somewhere around 84 inflatables. It's only going to get bigger. It's a great thing for the community. People look forward to it.
And local businesses create their own unique displays.
Enbridge is our big backer. The trees were built by the Enbridge guys, and we got Tom from the pub out here, Baybank. The Dairy Flow has a display. Everybody that can put in a couple hours tries to put in a couple hours. Community is what it's all about.
Lights in the Park is designed to be accessible for everyone, and it shines bright as a reminder of community members' dedication to their neighbors.
It's like feeding people. Feeding people to me is brings people together. This brings people together. Christmas is important. There's a couple people that stopped through the gate last year and said, I really needed this. Thank you for doing it. It's important to people.
Reporting in Rapid River, Lily Simmons, WZMQ 19 News.
What gifts and gadgets are topping Americans' wish list this holiday season? Along with the usual Nintendos and flat-screen TVs, wearable wellness-driven tech is trending. Evan Moon breaks down what shoppers should know before buying popular health tracking devices.
This season, some Americans are trading toys and TVs for wellness-focused tech. Wearable gadgets like smart rings, bands, and watches are among the most popular gifts.
I have the Ringcon Gen 2 right now, and I love it so much, I'm actually going to get it for my sister for Christmas.
Users can track exercise, heart rate, sleep, and stress, and even detect medical conditions in real time. New York's Mount Sinai Hospital now has a wearables lab where Dr. Zahi Fayyad tests the latest devices.
What are you wearing right now?
I'm wearing a Garmin watch, I'm wearing a Polar band, I'm wearing a Whoop band, and then finally, I have an Oura ring.
The lab focuses on validating the health benefits of commercial devices, and Dr. Fayyad says the data can be transformative.
24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days during the year. You're getting health information similar to what you will be able to get or you get usually in the clinic. I think that's fantastic.
Recent retail tracking data from Circana shows spending on fitness trackers in 2025 grew 88% from 1 year ago.
Stores like Best Buy are stock full of these items, and they're flying off shelves, from smart wristbands to rings, even smart glasses. And I'm told this technology had a surge after the COVID pandemic.
Harvard sleep scientist Rebecca Robbins says 1 in 4 Americans now track their sleep, too.
If you wake up and you get a bad reading from your sleep tracker, it automatically prompts this process of reflection. What did I do yesterday?
But Robbins says users shouldn't let the numbers keep them up at night.
Don't worry. The technology is improving every day, but it is still not perfect.
Both researchers agree. If you find one of these gadgets under your tree, they could put you on track to improved health.
These wearable devices can range from only $30 to a few $100s, depending on the model. If you're new to health monitoring tech, researchers suggest starting simple. Just track daily steps. They say studies show adding even a few thousand steps a day can have a meaningful impact on health and lifespan. Still to come on your 19 News, a man originally from the United Kingdom is close to completing his walk around the world. We'll tell you about his journey when we come back.
You're watching WZMQ 19 News, live and local, with Kevin Hodge.
Welcome back, everyone. A first-of-its-kind lawsuit claims 11 of America's largest food producers contributed to a public health crisis by making ultra-processed food. The suit was filed in San Francisco yesterday. It accuses companies like Kraft Heinz, General Mills, and Nestle of using cheap ingredients and adding flavor and color to make unhealthy products that taste so good we get addicted to them. Elizabeth Cook has more.
They're on nearly every shelf in nearly every grocery store across the country. Ultra-processed foods, usually packaged to last as long as possible, now make up more than half of the American diet.
Tobacco, lead paint, opioids. This is our next fight.
In San Francisco Tuesday, City Attorney David Chu announced the first government lawsuit of its kind against 11 companies that make what prosecutors claim are food products with hidden health harms, designed to be cheap, colorful, flavorful, and addictive. The suit calls for manufacturers to end alleged deceptive marketing practices to sell those products, from Lunchables and Chips Ahoy to Doritos and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
We've known for a long time that the ingredients in many of these ultra-processed foods are unhealthy. Why now?
We have all suspected for a long time that food that is not food or likely not good for us, but it took many years for the science to catch up.
Research has linked ultra-processed foods to obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. In a statement, a trade group representing many of the companies named in the lawsuit said there is currently no agreed-upon scientific definition of ultra-processed foods, and calling them unhealthy is misleading to consumers.
There's a clear definition in California law on what ultra-processed foods are. We look forward to having that discussion in court.
A man from the UK is taking the phrase "the long way home" to a whole new level, setting off an epic journey nearly 30 years ago to walk around the world. Remy Inocencio is tracking his progress from London.
Since Carl Bushby started walking non-stop across the planet in 1998, the world has changed. But human kindness, he says, has not, since his first few days on the road in Chile.
These indigenous folks just brought me in, that sat me down, put plates of food in front of me, found nothing but the best in those 27 years, which has just been remarkable.
In that time, Bushby has walked about 30,000 miles, traversing up the Americas, across the U.S. to Russia, then Asia, and now Europe. Why?
Our lives are short, and I've always wanted to live it to the fullest that I can.
One of the scariest things happened early on. In 2000, he crossed the dangerous Darien Gap.
Through the middle of a war zone, and there's a whole layer above that of cartels and drug plantations.
He later traversed the Bering Strait from Alaska to Siberia.
You're in a very serious world that will kill you in 20 minutes.
Physical challenges aside, Bushby says there were emotional ones too.
Done it twice, lost both of them, circumstances.
Technological adaptations were needed as well. In 2013, he bought his first touchscreen device.
What's the lesson you want to share?
Don't be afraid. Get off the couch. Get out of bed. Make it happen.
Perhaps the world's ultimate globe trekker, reminding us that life isn't about our destination, but about our journey.
Bushby had two rules for his trek around the world. He couldn't use any mechanical transport, and he would not go home until he got there on foot. And he's almost home. Only about 2,000 more miles to go until the 56-year-old walks back into England next year. Stranger Things kicked off season 5 with suspense and a streaming record, and the cast of NCIS is celebrating a television milestone. Gwen Baumgartner has tonight's entertainment headlines.
I need you to fight one last time.
Stranger Things is back and bigger than ever. Last week, episodes of the 5th and final season debuted on Netflix, setting a record with 59.6 million views in its first 5 days, the most ever for an English language show. It briefly crashed the streaming site and well surpassed the show's season 4 premiere week in 2022.
It's a bit insane.
The season finale will air on New Year's Eve on Netflix and in select theaters. Avatar: Fire and Ash is set to debut, but could it be the last movie in the franchise? Director James Cameron weighed in from the red carpet while praising his cast.
We love that working experience together, so I've learned how important that is.
Avatar: Fire and Ash heads to theaters December 19th. In its 23 seasons, TV show NCIS has had a lot of milestones. This one takes the cake. Cast members just filmed their 500th episode.
I think that's the one thing this entire crew, writers and actors really understand, is that this is an opportunity that will rarely come again in history and television.
NCIS is CBS's longest-running primetime drama.
This show, when we are all together, a lot of times in this room, are some of my favorite memories.
NCIS airs Tuesdays on CBS and Paramount Plus. 500th episode.
Now when we come back, Tom DeVecchio will have our final look at weather, and a raccoon gets drunk. We'll have that story when we come back.
It's a cold one for the Upper Peninsula tonight. Some of you are getting below zero. You can see Ironwood looking to get down well below zero. Single digits in most other spots. Farther toward the east, where some lake effect kicking in, they may actually keep your temperatures in the low teens, but cold all the way around. And tomorrow, cold. Some of the coldest daytime air so far this season. I don't think anyone breaks the teens with some lake effect. Again, primarily east of Marquette. Marquette, you yourself. Not expecting much here. You can see the snow outlook throughout much of tonight into tomorrow. Just not there for the most part. Maybe an inch or two for you. Much higher amounts, up to 6 to 8 in the heavier snow bands east of Marquette, particularly in the Munising to Newberry and Sault Ste. Marie. Thursday, chance of some light snow showers here. And the weekend, we're going to have a chance of some snow as well.
Tom, thank you again. And finally tonight, a brazen raccoon intruder broke into a liquor store and ransacked the bottom shelf of scotch and whiskey in Virginia recently. An employee found the nocturnal animal passed out on the bathroom floor early in the morning after also finding smashed bottles and pools of alcohol on the floor. The Hanover County Animal Protection and Shelter responded to the unusual call, saying after a few hours of sleep and zero signs of injury other than maybe a hangover and poor life choices, he was safely released back to the wild, hopefully having learned that breaking and entering is not the answer. That's all we have for you tonight, everyone. More headlines coming your way tomorrow at 6/5 Central. We'll see you then.